So welcome, Suzanne, to our review of the Prudential report. This is the sustainability page, and this is kind of the home to your integrated report. And I thought I'd share with folks how to get there. If you want to start at our website, we have a great list started of integrated reporters in the US. And here's Prudential's report, and with all of them, as with all of them, we've got a link right here to the report. And so if you want to get a quick reading of a bunch of reports, this is a great place to start. And before we jump into the report itself, I just want to point out that Prudential also includes this report on their investor relations page. It's featured pretty prominently right here. And I imagine that's an important thing, Suzanne, that, that this is part of the investor relation message.
Yes, absolutely. It's also integrated into the marketing deck for investor relations. We've been working with them on that for several months now on how to integrate it.
And does that, are they getting a good reaction? Is that something of value for them, or is that you're having to train them a little?
We're having to train them a little. I think we're trying to stay ahead of the curve with that. So there are some investors, sort of the more pension funds, that are interested in us that consider this. But it's a starting point that we got it in the deck, so we were really happy about that.
That's great. I'm going to switch over and just show that this is the online report, if you will. It's kind of the landing page for the report, and it's got this kind of iconic graphic that you're using this year, and I thought it would be a great place to start talking. And if you look over on the right-hand side, we've got the archive, and I kind of like just reading the sequence of all the titles over the past years, and then, you know, I actually opened all these up and looked. It's kind of interesting that, you know, the commitment to progress, keeping our promises, then the injecting the asset, you know, the capital kind of thinking there in 2013. And then, you know, you can see kind of the connection each year as it evolves. So I'd love to hear about this graphic and what it means about where your thinking is in your integrated report.
Sure, absolutely. So this was a graphic we designed this year with everything's done in-house. So we have a communication team and a design team that works in-house with us on this. And why I mention that is just because it creates a consistency of messaging across our suite of reports that we do.
Okay.
So we wanted to keep the idea of the Rock of Gibraltar, which has been a symbol for Prudential for probably over 100 years now. So it's the sort of artistic rock, I guess you can call it. And what we did around it was kind of integrate the 4 different pillars, we call them, into the format of the rock. So at the center we have the rock solid image, and then we build on, these integrates for the capitals of integrated reporting as well. So you'll see customer focus, responsible impact, talent focus, and our financial strength. And if you click through on the graphic, we also created a summary document of the report. So this is about a 3 or 4 page document that integrates sort of the big messages of the report in case somebody doesn't want to read the larger version of the report. What we like to do with the graphic is keep it for about 2 years and then reiterate on it on that 3rd year to create a new graphic if we see it necessary.
Yeah, I could definitely see the thread of the different, these capitals being there for a number of years now, and then kind of evolving the message. So
exactly.
So I didn't click through to the summary report, but I do have the full report up, and I just thought I'd highlight a couple things there. So this is the 2016 report. It's I want to say 39 or 40 pages, something like that. So it truly is a summary report, and you've got your graphic there. But you know, then the table of contents is kind of that was your organizing theme, clearly.
Yes.
When you Can you talk a little bit about the process, about what goes into the report, what isn't? I mean, when you look at it, you've packed a lot of summary information into each of these sections. Are there guiding principles you're using on what should be there and or not?
Yes, absolutely. So the first guiding principle, our vice chairman, who is actually the corporate sponsor of sustainability, insists that the report stay brief. So every year we try and actually go down in pages instead of up. So what we try and do is every year we maintain the 4 pillars or buckets of sustainability that we have listed here. And what we're looking for across all the businesses and corporate centers is big stories, so stories that will support the 4 capitals that we have here. What we start with is the message from the chairman. So while we're building out the report, the sustainability report, we're also building out the proxy statement. So my team, I sit in the corporate governance team, and we work with the people, my colleagues that are doing the proxy statement at the same time, as well as another colleague who writes the chairman's note in the annual report. And we try and make sure all of the themes sync up. So last year we launched this purpose campaign, hence the name of last year's report, The Purpose of Sustainability.
Right.
And so we start with the chairman and the board of directors message, and then we go from there. We build it out based on what the themes are, what the messaging is. And with our sustainability council that we have and our environmental task force, we go to them every year and we ask, you have intelligence into the business or into the corporate centers, tell us what's going on. And then we build these sections out based on what's going on. So none of the content of the report besides the emissions data is new. This is a compilation of what is sustainability, what is ESG in Prudential when we build out this report. So it's not meant to be, it's meant to be a synchronization of all of that as opposed to new data. Like I said, the only new data in this report is what we report on our emissions and water waste.
I like this synchronization. I've been using the word synthesis lately, but I think that's a great way to describe, how you can pull so many disparate sources into one relatively short document.
Absolutely.
Bob, I see you taking notes there. Any questions or comments? Or
a few comments. And I had the pleasure of going and visiting Prudential Financial in Newark, and talking to Suzanne and her colleagues, talking about integrated reporting and integrated thinking. But yeah, a couple of thoughts. And the one thought that I really want to talk about, and then maybe a little later on we'll talk about integrated thinking. But for integrated reporting, even if companies like Prudential don't call it an integrated report and don't follow, follow is not the right word, but I'll just use it for lack of thinking of a better word. The exact wording in the IR framework, you can see, and this came up with American Electric Power, it just came up in a discussion I had yesterday with Intel, is that they're doing a multi-capital approach. Now they may be titling them a little bit differently, but you can see in Prudential's report, and especially this table of contents is so good, is that it really covers the 6 capitals. And in my opinion, it really doesn't matter all that much in the grand scheme of things if they call it an integrated report or if they use our exact words. Now, it may be good for the organization, but that's not what we're trying to accomplish here. What we're trying to accomplish is having a change in reporting, but maybe more importantly, the way that companies think about different things and getting more long-term and not doing this quarterly earnings game. But, I'm not going to, but I could make a real easy connection to all the 6 capitals. And, just a couple of them. Customer focus, you go to relationship capital, and then you look at the table of contents here is purpose and customer focus, and right, the third one down is innovation and products. And when I look at sustainability at Prudential, we always struggle with the word sustainability at the IARC, and I call it the little s sustainability and the big S sustainability. And the little s, I kind of say, is ESG, and I'm not trying to be critical of ESG, but the big S, and I think what we're all trying to do is long-term sustainability of value creation. And you can just see it, even in that first title, is long-term risk and opportunities. And what I really like is risk and opportunities, and there is long-term opportunities, not just risks that we're trying to do. What I also want to comment is it's great to see that the wealth of information, and you just see in the table of contents, is there's so much here, can be actually put in 40 pages, and that is quite a task, and I'm sure Suzanne probably pulling your hair out trying to do that, but that is actually a great accomplishment. But also what we've seen from AEP is something similar, is that you said you have a summary report, and AEP found, if I remember correctly, the same thing, is that there's people, with how busy we are, that just aren't willing to even read a 40-page report, let alone these 200-page financial documents that we throw at them. And some people just want the summarization, and I think Prudential has recognized that. I'll let Suzanne talk about that. But the AEP had a one-page leave behind with IR, and then when I visited with them, the IR people were actually at the meeting, and it was just not you know, like, hey, we kind of work with IR, but we're not really integrated. You could really see where Prudential was getting to more of an integrated issue. And then what we talked about at our meeting, really for the most part, was I was hearing from the Prudential people is maybe the real next step, which is the important step, is the integrated thinking and cutting down silos within the company. And that's really what we're all after. And it takes time. It's a journey. But I'm really impressed with what Prudential's done and the journey they're on. It's a great document.
Cool. Well, I'm going to highlight just a couple more sections here before we break and open it up for questions. When I first started following Prudential's report, you see this, and there's a great video on your sustainability page, Suzanne, I believe also from the chairman, although there are a number of videos that have the same message. But I think what I loved about the big S sustainability was this statement here that, you know, for a company like Prudential says that, you know, every day we pledge to honor obligations that may come due many years from now, like paying life insurance, et cetera, and that's the ultimate in sustainable thinking, that you have to be prepared to pay something 50 years from now. Maybe it's easier for you to think that way, but you're also a financial company that clearly has a lot of financial pressures. So I love that that's, you know, right there up front. I'm going to jump down and just let you talk a little bit about the mechanics of things real quickly. I think I actually went over to one section here. Here we go. So this is one of your sections. I should have asked you which one to pick, Suzanne, but here's, you know, purpose and talent focus. As we said, that you're packing a lot in there.
We see your video, we don't see the report. Are you?
Oh dear. Okay, I'll figure that out real fast. So I'm talking about the human capital while I figure that out. There we go, maybe this is it. There we go. Sorry about that. Here's the human capital section. You chose some basic numbers that are here, and I assume you'll probably report on those year after year. And yeah, if you could talk to me a little bit about, you know, choosing metrics versus telling stories, and, you know, how you see that developing over the years and where you see that going with your integrated report.
Sure. So every year we're benchmarking and we're looking to see sort of best practices with writing sustainability reports and how we can refine this message without expanding the length of the report. So last year in 15, the first year that we did this, we included this by the numbers section that you'll see here. And so this data has always been there. It's been buried in the text, and I thought it would make more sense to include it in a box right at the beginning so that people can get an idea of what our metrics are. This is something that we're always working on, to be frank with you. What is the company comfortable with disclosing? Because it's not just me deciding, it's really a team and group effort. When I speak with my colleagues, where their comfort level is and where we think, you know, makes most sense from conversations we've had with stakeholders, including the series and the IR movement, as well as SASB and GRI. What numbers do people want to see? Do our stakeholders and shareholders want to see? And so we sort of work towards that. Usually when we're looking to maybe have some add to our metrics, we might start with something, for example, not in this section, but in another section, we talk about in the financial capital section and the relationship section, we talk about the UNPRI and how much of the general account funds are managed by UNPRI signatories. So that's about 2/3. And that was a conversation, a dialogue that we went back and forth with the group. What are we comfortable with, you know, disclosing and starting as a benchmark? And so we started there, and we'll hopefully build on that, you know, year over year. We also, in addition to just sort of providing numbers, we also want to present people that are doing this work at the company. So you'll see on this page, we have an interview with our Chief Talent Officer, Shekhar Ramaswamy. And so this is a link. We've done now 8 videos with different senior leaders that support what we addressed in the report.
And that's over here. I've just highlighted on that home page for your sustainability. There's a link to those videos, and
exactly.
It's an interesting, because you're seeing all the different people in the organization and bringing their viewpoint to sustainability. So that's great. Anything else you want to highlight? You mentioned GRI series. You do mention the IRC in your report. Anything else you might like to share, or, you know, we can page around?
Sure. So if you go back to the home page, I wanted to highlight some of the things on the index over there on the right hand side.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Yeah. When you come to the home page on the right hand side here, what we've done is the related links. We've tried to include topics that are relevant to people that are looking at ESG or sustainability initiatives, right? So we have the second one down, the statement on responsible investing. This is for the general account. This was just put up this year. And this took many months, maybe arguably many years, to get everybody comfortable with what can we say and what can we include. Same with the code of conduct and the vendor code of conduct. These are things that we've been working on, because the way we see sustainability at Prudential is it's a decentralized function. So I'm the director of sustainability, but I work with many colleagues and our sustainability council to bring this report to fruition. I don't claim to be an expert in all these things, but we do have a great group of people that work together to develop this report. So you'll see on the side here, we also have a link to our corporate social responsibility group. I sit in governance, but work very closely with the folks from CSR, as well as the Prudential Foundation for kind of what's going on. And what we really try and do with sustainability is it's embedded in our in the business plan as well. So it's not just an add-on. We're creating long-term value creation. It's integrated into the business. We report in to the board of directors, the corporate governance and business ethics committee annually sees the report and use the report. So it's really embedded in the business, and that's sort of what these links and the video links are trying to illustrate as well. So we don't have a large report, but we have insight into people that you might want to hear from regarding sustainability.
Great. Well, thanks for the great tour, Suzanne. And now we're going to break and open it up to questions, but we're going to stop the recording. So if you're just watching the recording, thanks for joining us, and join us live next time. Thanks.